Welcome to Papa Junk Shop. Well, for a few years I looked for smart drive washers and can't find any, and then 6 months time now I've gotten 4 of them. So it doesn't rain but it pours. The white one was in a relative's basement that got flooded and ruined, and the red one my brother-in-law got for me. He works at a housing project, and when he sees one of them that somebody's throwing in the dumpster, he grabs it for me. So the red one is a little different. Take you in the garage, show you. Okay, this one is out of the white one. It's identical to the one of the other ones. This is the parts I save. Of course, the stator and the rotor with the magnets and the bearing assembly and shaft. So that'll probably be spare parts for now. But as some of you know, my windmill got wrecked, and I was just going to do without it. My other one up on the big tower, bearings went bad in it. It hasn't run for a year. But I'm actually missing it. So I'm going to try to put the smart drive that was in the red washer, turn it into a windmill. And I got the parts on the bench. And let me go get a tripod, throw you up, and I'll show you what I got in mind. Okay, now I think I can show you what I wanted to show you. The bearing assembly out of that washer is different than any of the other ones I've taken apart. And it has apparently a gear reduction built inside, or an increaser, however you want to look at it. But I don't think that's going to be advantageous to me, so I'm going to eliminate it. I wouldn't expect it to hold up very well. So I won't be using that part of it. And we got pretty nice big bearings here, and I dug a seal out of there, and it turns much nicer now. That seal was putting a lot of pressure on it, and boy, it did not come out nicely. Let's see what else we got going here. That's pretty much for that, I guess. And this is what the assembly looks like for this one. Now it has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 coils. And it has this electromagnet which shifted this assembly here in and out of the rotor. I'm not sure if that was for when it spun, or if that was for when it agitated, or just what. But it doesn't matter because I don't care. So how it's going to work is that instead of having this thing shifting, it's going to be permanent right in here, and that'll make it drive from the outside. So this will go on there like so, and then, well, that spring isn't on there, so it doesn't lock in. But anyways, that's how that's going to go, and that'll be the back side. The rotor will go out here, and I cut this part out of the bottom of the tub. And it has a spline and a metal piece embedded in this plastic, and there was a seal back here which I dug out, which will allow this to drop down out a little bit farther than it did originally. And then this is the rotor for my blades. Now this has 3 broken blades on it. It was 11 blades, because this is the one that the storm tore off the roof, threw on the ground, broke those 3 blades. So what I'm going to do is put this in the lathe and turn this out larger so that it fits down over here, and it'll be sandwiched up against this metal hub which is embedded in there, and this lock nut will tighten it down on that assembly, and then I'll probably also have a bolt or 2 or 3 go down in there. And then this is part of the agitator that I saved. It has a spline in it and a steel piece, and I'll turn that all down, and that will go on there, and a bolt will also help lock it in place. Now my first intentions were to mount this like this, and mount this on there, but I wasn't sure about this. The blades are held on with bolts and nuts, so I would have had to deal with that, trying to figure that out. So I thought by doing this and sandwich it in there, I'm right up against metal everywhere, so everything should run true, and it will give me clearance for my bolts because this is tapered, so I have clearance for my bolts. So this is my usual by the seat of your pants and as you go engineering, so it all could change, but that's what the plan is. So I'm thinking probably the next thing I'll do is get this mounted up in the lathe and get it turned down. I just took saber saw and cut around there. I didn't know what I was going to find. I got a little too close there, but other than that, we should be able to turn this down and get it trued up so it's balanced. So going to work on that next. Now this turned into a little more of a challenge than I expected. I've got real limited movement with my carriage because my tailstock, I've got the cone shaped ball bearing thing to keep everything lined up. So that's all the more I can move with that, and the rest of it I gotta get with the compound, and that's pretty limited too. So I gotta run the lathe backwards, 'cause that's as far as that goes, so it just barely makes it. So I run the lathe backwards, and I got the boring bar in upside down. So I'll show you one cut. Looks like it's snowing out. As far as I can go with the carriage, the rest of it I gotta get with the compound. Okay, so I'll go ahead and finish that up, show you the finished result. Last cut. I guess it turned out alright. Where I got a little close with the saw, not quite perfect, but I think it'll do. Okay, I got the blade holder mounted on a faceplate, and I was able to find a tapped hole from another project and one that wasn't tapped, so I got a nut on the back side of that one and one of the original holes in the faceplate. So I got three mounts. I got it all centered up, and I've taken a couple of cuts just to see how it's going to go, so I'll show you one. And I'll just keep hogging that out until I get it the right size to fit over that spline part, so I can screw the nut on and sandwich it in there. So I'll be a while because I'm just going to take light cuts. Alright, I got that all hogged out. That's what it looks like. And she fits nicely. So on this, I stuck this in the lathe, and I took just a little bit off right here. You can see the shiny spot, and that's so that'll drop on there far enough so I can get the full thickness of that nut. So this is going there. This is going there. I got clearance for my bolts that hold the blades on, and this nut will, well, I'm going to drill down through here maybe in three spots, just to anchor this onto this too, because I'm not sure the friction of this nut is going to be sufficient to hold it completely. So yeah, I'm not going to screw that on there all the way, but, and then I got to turn this down and get rid of all this excess plastic, and then this will go on there and a bolt through here to lock the lock nut. So far so good. So at this point, it's a nice calm day, and I need 3 blades for this that got ruined when it come down. And my other windmill on the tower hasn't worked for about a year. It has the same blades, except that they're white. So I'm going to attempt to climb the tower today and take that other windmill down so I can use it for parts. So I'll take my little camera up with me. Maybe I can get some shots up there on the tower. Might be interesting. Not going to promise anything, but I'll give it a try. So see you in a bit.